Welcome back, club members. We have another amazing month in store for you. And each month we try and craft the champagnes around a certain theme. And this month we're looking at the idea of fermenting, the first time, primary fermentation, in a concrete vat with an enamel lining. Now, this is a growing trend of winemakers, not just in the Champagne region. Apologies, I am in the warehouse, so it is noisy, so bear with me. But we are looking at the vessel that is neutral. So we have multiple options these days for fermenting for the first time. So first fermentation, turning the grapes into wine. Second fermentation happening inside the bottle if we're making champagne. And for a period of time, of course, back in the 1800s and the 1900s, an oak barrel was the only vessel that the winemakers had available to them. It's porous, it needs repair, it's not very sustainable, it's hard to clean, it does impart a lot of flavour. So there are some downsides to working with oak barrel, although it is the traditional vessel. Along comes the Industrial Revolution. We have stainless steel. We get tanks, which are larger in volume, so they're easier to control quantity. They are easier to clean. There's some quality control. They're very neutral, so they're not imparting any flavour. But are they too austere? Are they too neutral in flavour with no oxygen impasse coming into the wines? We now have something in the middle, a cement vat. Obviously with concrete, we've got a nice thick outside that gives us a thermal lining. This is a benefit, giving the wine a consistent temperature while it's going through that fermentation process. And we also have the enamel lining, which is great for hygiene, very easy to clean, but it does allow some micro-oxygenation. You are getting some breathing of the wine. So think about this. We've got stainless steel, very reductive in the way that we ferment our wine, really pure fruit, but very tight. We have cement vat with enamel lining in the middle, allowing some micro-oxygenation and a nice climate-controlled environment. And then we have timber, has its benefits and still very much of value to certain winemakers when they get the timber regime correct, but can impart quite a bit of flavour whilst allowing for that micro-oxygenation of the wine. Two houses that we've chosen for you this month. One is brand new and exclusive to Australia and coming out just for you club members. And I've got to say, I loved this wine. I had to stop myself from taking them home at night. And I did a few times. I first tried the champagne and I was like, whew, this is my kind of champagne. And I know that of all the champagnes I have in Nempra, I've got about 200 by the bottle. When I'm choosing one consistently to take home and drink with my friends or drink privately, it is a sensational cuvee. It is Champagne Alette. It is the first time in Australia. They're located in Damery, which is in the Marne Valley. We're talking 4 generations now. First generation dating back to the 1890s. A very loving family who've passed the baton from generation to generation. And what I love about this house, and I don't know whether this is true, but I do think that there's a little insignia on the back, which is the timepiece. I think this really does represent the family. So they are ones to keep with tradition. Things like continuing to use manual riddling of the bottles for disgorgement. But I also think there's a modernity to the house. So they've kept some traditions which they feel give some heritage, but they're also pioneering and looking to the future. The champagne that's coming out to all of our lovers is a phenomenal champagne. It's part of the prestige range of the Maison. It's called Les Aînés, the Elders. And it's a rosé champagne, and what the Elders is referring to is that the Meunier, which is going into the wine, it's the Meunier grape being the red grape which is being turned into a red wine and blended into the mix, is from some of the oldest Meunier vines in the whole Champagne region. We're talking over 80 years of age, providing a real power, a real oomph, but also a delicateness at the same time on the wine. We have this beautiful, powerful, quite robust mouthfeel. You get leather and spice and red berry fruit. It is one of the most beautiful rosé champagnes I think I've had in quite some time. It would absolutely whoop a lot of the very high-end prestige rosé champagnes without naming any names, but 55% Pinot Noir, 30% Chardonnay, 15% Meunier with 12% super old Meunier vines added into the blend. Tell you what, spectacular rosé champagne coming your way. Our second house, which many of you know that I am incredibly fond of, is Frère Jean Frère. Frère meaning brothers. We've got Rodolphe, who's the CEO, Guillaume and Richard. Now the boys are from 2 very famous families. The Frère Jean family, which made the cannons and artillery for Napoleon Bonaparte. You see this beautiful copper label on this gorgeous glass bottle. This is a reference, an ode to the metal work that the family used to make, so two very famous families. But the other side is the Taittinger family. So we've got a winemaking family at its core. The boys always involved in the wine industry, but in 2005 the gentlemen splintered off and started their own house located in Avize, some of the finest Chardonnay parcels in all of Champagne. The boys have such panache, such a finesse in the way that they make the wines, and they're also using stainless steel tanks for their primary fermentation. This rosé champagne, which is 60% Chardonnay, 40% Pinot Noir, is aged for 6 years. This is quite extraordinary. It's very rare to see a rosé champagne aged for such a significant period of time. So you're getting depth of colour, depth of power, depth of aroma. These wines are certainly more gourmand than you would have in a normal rosé champagne, which is generally aged for 2 to 3 years maximum, very sprightly, very fresh, very effervescent. Both of these wines have tertiary characters. They're a lot smoother on the palate. You've got some beautiful silkiness, but robust, powerful, long finish on the wines. Both exceptional. I think they're in a class of their own this month. The value of this month way exceeds what your cost of membership is, and that's the benefit of being in the club. Two exceptional producers, Arlette Frejon Frere from Avize, so in the Valley de la Marne and in the heart of the Côte de Blanc, and we are looking at enamel, allowing for micro-oxygenation, but a neutral fermentation vessel for the primary. I hope you enjoy this month. I certainly did. We'll see you back on next month's episode. Bye for now.